The President, please be seated. The court is now back in session.
Just one moment. Again, during the break, I noticed that the civil party lawyer is talking to the civil party who's actually giving evidence at this moment. I think it is improper while the witness or civil party is testifying. Afterwards, I have no problem with that. But I do find it, at least where I come from, this would be improper behavior because one can influence the testimony of a civil party or a witness while they're on the stand. They should have no contact. That should go for the rest of us. I noticed that one of the civil party's lawyers is shaking their head. Maybe in France it's permissible. But at least I would like to know what the rules are here.
The President, International Co-Prosecutor, you may now proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honours. I'm not sure what the rules are in France or in Cambodia in relation to civil parties being spoken to during their testimony or during the breaks. But certainly we would agree with our friend that when witnesses are giving evidence, there shouldn't be too much opportunity for counsel to speak to those witnesses to influence the testimony if that was the case. And I'm sure that wasn't the case in this instance. But we would also ask, obviously also in relation to the accused, that when they're giving their evidence, that there shouldn't be discussion throughout that period on the topic on which they're giving evidence from.
The President, thank you, International Co-Prosecutor. Legal lawyer for the civil party, you may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. We certainly need to be clear once and for all on this subject. The civil party is not a witness, as Mr. Laverne explained, and the civil party lawyers can therefore talk with the civil parties. This is a rule which exists in this court and which comes from civil law and Cambodian law. I don't think we should continue this daily debate on this subject. I think we should accept things as you yourself have laid it down, and I think we should recall once and for all this elementary rule. Thank you.
Mr. President, just one minor clarification. I didn't object yesterday when they don't take an oath, because I understand the difference. And I understand that in the French system, which we are more or less practicing in, at the end, after the trial chamber has all of the evidence, it will decide what weight, if any, to give to any witnesses, including the civil party's testimony. And it may choose to give less weight because they were not under oath. That's a discretionary decision. I do find it, however, if we're going to have a clean and proper trial, that when someone is giving evidence, whether it's under oath or otherwise, during that process, that the parties have no communication with that witness or civil party, with the exception of the accused, which obviously they're entitled to consult with their lawyers, but I agree not in particular with the subject for which they're being questioned. But I don't think it's a good practice if someone is on the stand and then the civil party then during the break coaches the witness on how to answer a question or gives them information. I'm not suggesting that that has happened, but I think that appearances are there. And I'm trying to avoid, or I would like to avoid, a situation where at some other point I will have to raise that issue. The best practice is when the witnesses understand or the civil parties understand, there should be no communication. Likewise, the civil party should not be mingling with other civil parties while they're still giving evidence. That should be the rule. After they've testified, I have no problem. There's a simple reason why proofing is not allowed. Now, this trial chamber has made an effort to allow the witnesses and civil parties to have access to their statements to read, but for the lawyers not to coach, not to advise. The purpose for that is so that you can have the purest evidence from the witnesses and civil parties' mind. That's the evidence. And while I'm not suggesting that they're doing any coaching, I am suggesting that it gives the appearance that something improper is occurring. And the best approach is to just forbid it for all sides. Thank you.
The President, Counsel Pek Ong, you may proceed. Counsel Pek Ong. Mr. President, I think there should not be any provision that is discriminatory against our clients, regardless of clients of the civil parties or the clients of the defense counsel, because according to the law, clients shall be entitled to have the opportunities to consult with their lawyers at all times. And if my client is not allowed to consult with his lawyers, we are afraid that there would not be the equal opportunity for each party, or in other words, the equality of arms principle could have been violated. Civil party before us today is weak and fragile, and his knowledge and memory along with his health are poor. For that reason, we should respect the rights of the civil party to consult with his or her counsel. This right is fundamental and shall be equally treated. When it comes to parties before this chamber, it shall not be discriminated. Counsel Kum Ming Ki. Mr. President, Your Honors, I fully object the observation raised by the defense counsel. This is entirely against the practice under national practice and provisions. Even before this chamber, civil parties have the right to protect their interests at all stages. So any interaction, communications between the clients and their counsels shall be fully respected, and no party can interfere in such communication. And this right shall also be equally exercised by the clients on the other part. Here referring to the accused person communication with their counsel. So their right shall not be violated as well when it comes to such communication. So I would like the chamber to reconsider this. Thank you. The President. According to our national practice and provisions and the internal rules, civil party is a party to the proceedings, and as a party, he or she shall be entitled to consult with his or her counsel at all stages during the proceedings. I would like to also to remind the provisions with regard to civil parties and witnesses. Rule 88, paragraph 2, which reads that the accused shall not communicate. The accused shall not communicate with each other. Whenever possible, experts and witnesses shall stay in a separate room from which they cannot see or hear the proceedings. While in such room, the witnesses shall not communicate with each other. This provision clearly refers to witnesses and experts and the accused person, and not referring to a civil party. If counsel wishes to advise the chamber with regard to any other provision other than the one that has already been indicated, then the counsel need to substantiate this provision so that the chamber is well guided. Indeed, the civil party do not really bear the burden of taking an oath before this chamber as opposed to a witness. Any civil party who cannot participate in the proceeding, the national laws and any internal provision of the internal rules of the ECCC does not see any compulsion, any provision that compels the civil party to come forward, but the witness shall be treated differently when it comes to the force to appear before the chamber. Here at this court, civil party is responsible for claiming for reparation, and that the civil party lawyers are representing them for this cause. Civil parties are supposed to tell the court about their harms, and such right by the civil party is not really granted or do not really see in the provision with regard to witnesses. We at this court or our Cambodian provisions are influenced by the French code. I think Judge Lavange may wish to also enlighten further on this so that everyone is clear and that we should avoid having the same problem in the future.
The
President, without further ado, we would like to proceed to the prosecutors to put questions to the civil party. Parties and publics are now advised that the chamber will hear testimonies of TCW 395 this afternoon and tomorrow's session. Due to the health concern of this person, and in any event, if the chamber cannot really examine or hear the testimony of the witness, this TCW 395 fully, we can continue hearing him on the 9th of December. The person is an elderly person and his health is deteriorating. Parties are advised to put questions to this CCW 395 with regard to the facts, relevant facts that have already been identified. In another occasion, if any other witness who has the same situation as TCW 395, the Chamber would like to also inform parties to inform the Chamber at their earliest convenience, so that the Chamber can notify other parties to be prepared for the examination of the witness fully. We would like to now hand over to the co-prosecutors to put questions to the civil party. Prosecutors will be allocated 30 minutes for the questioning.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, regarding the 30-minute timeline you've given us, I would like to request you to be flexible with this time frame, given the difficulties we may face regarding the understanding of questions in Khmer by the civil party, and also bearing in mind the fact that the burden of proof is on the prosecution. It is possible that we may exceed that period by a few minutes. We do not know how the witness will answer our questions. We do not know whether he will be concise or not. Good morning, Mr. Roman Yun. Thank you for accepting to come and testify in this case, coming from afar. We will put a few questions to you. We are fully aware that Khmer is not your mother tongue. If you do not understand any of our questions, please tell us. If you do not remember anything, please tell us that you do not remember, and we will move to another line of questioning. I would like us to revisit what you said a while ago. You acknowledged having been questioned by ECCC investigators. Could you please again specify where you were interviewed? Was that in Phnom Penh or in your home? We want you to clarify this issue for the record.
Response. I won't be long, I just want to be brief, as I understand, or as I know. As a principal, we do not know for sure what the principle is. But I'm afraid I cannot recall. Any particular points? Perhaps you can point out that the question is that the investigators used to interview you, and we would like to know whether the interview took place in Phnom Penh or Ratanakiri, says the assistant. That if we would like to know where the interview took place. Response: it was in Phnom Penh. The record was done in Ratanakiri. Yes, the interview took place in Ratanakiri and then once again in Phnom Penh.
Je crois comprendre qu'en fait.
If I understood correctly, I believe the civil party filled a victim's form. That was done in Ratanakiri, and then he was subsequently interviewed in Phnom Penh. Now, when you were hired, you were recruited into the revolutionary movement in the northeast. Do you remember when the Khmer Rouge arrived in the Stung Treng region?
Response: they asked about the Khmer Rouge. The assistant says, I don't remember the year. But I'm speaking based on my understanding that the Khmer Rouge initiated the movement. But I don't know by myself. I heard people talk about the Khmer Rouge revolution. They said they were doing the revolution. And they said it was not possible. And why was it not possible? Only those who know about the revolution could continue.
Pardon me, civil party. We are experiencing some difficulties. The interpretation reaches us long after the beginning of the question. I do not know whether you are answering questions other than those I have put to you. My question to you has to do with the first time when you were persuaded to join the movement. Those persons belonging to the revolutionary movement approached you. What did they tell you to convince you to start fighting or to join their ranks?
Response: back then, I was told that we did the revolution in order to serve the nation. In order to serve the nation. To liberate the nation, to build the country. to be able to develop the countryside and the next generations. But the point is that we could not see what it was said. How could the country be built? We could not do anything. It was not done.
Thank you.
Est-ce que vous avez été volontairement engagé dans le mouvement?
Did you join the movement voluntarily, or there was some element of coercion? Were you forced to join them?
At the time, I was also forced, but I also wanted to know about the leader cadres. Some people understood about the issue, but some did not. And those who did not understand the issue, they were considered as the protesters. Besides, even when we tried to help, we were also considered as bad. We try to educate people at the in the community. We wanted them to understand, but some did not want to know about that. It was difficult. It was really difficult.
Thank you, sir. Now, let us talk about the time when you were a messenger. If I understood you correctly, you were a messenger before you became village chief. You told us a while ago that when you were a messenger, you delivered messages to Van. But when you had to convey messages at the level of the commune, your village, or your group, did you know what was the provenance of those messages? Who gave you those messages?
About this, I only saw Brother One. He went to work. There were messages delivered through the cadres. He was living in his home near a stream, and there were working cadres there. So I had been doing this job, but I could not see any fruits or outcomes.
Thank you. While you were in that northeast zone during that period, how was it organized? Were there several administrative jurisdictions above the zone or below the zone, right down to the village?
Country committees included at the district levels downward to the village levels. But the plan was disseminated through the communication lines.
Est-ce qu'au-dessus du district, il y avait un autre échelon?
Above the district level, was there another region?
At the district levels, we had this education program that we educated people in this district. There was Onka. So down from the commune there was a village. For example, in Ndong Mia district, there was order from the province down to the commune and further to the village.
Merci.
Thank you. Still with regard to means of communication, when you received instructions, how were they conveyed? Were they conveyed solely by messengers, or there were other means or channels of communication whereby instructions or orders were handed down to you? When there was a requirement to call people to attend meetings, there will be announcements in the village. People were called to attend meetings. People were called in communes. There were these lines of communication.
Merci.
Thank you. I will refer to a word you used a while ago, the word enemy. You have already explained somewhat what that meant. Before 1975, how was the enemy defined by Anka? Was the enemy single, or there were several categories of the enemy? If there were several categories, can you explain to us who could have been considered as the enemy?
Response. If the villages and the communes were clean, there were no enemies.
On the other hand, if they were not clean, there were enemies in there. Cadres, the leading cadres were considered enemies. But if they were clean, if they were correct, they were not enemies. The opposite was true. If they were not correct, they were enemies. That was what I meant by the damage to the village.
Merci.
Thank you. Question. You told us a while ago that you were promoted from the rank of village chief to the rank of commune chief. After you became commune chief, were you again promoted to another position?
Response. I was promoted from the village chief to the commune chief, and again from the commune chief to the district chief.
Quel était donc ce district?
Question. What district was that? What was the number of that district? Do you recall that?
Response. There were Khmer people who were amongst the district committees, and then I came to be part of them. It was called Ondong Mia district.
Je vous remercie. Comment c'est...
Thank you. Question. How were you appointed? You told us previously that appointments were made at meetings. Was it at a meeting that you were appointed Dong Mist district head and Dong Mia's district head?
During the meetings, there were appointments. For example, we were appointed to control how many communes, that is how many communes we were appointed to take control over. And that is we were to get the information about the situation from the superiors. And then we further spread the information down to the communes level.
À l'époque, vous avez été promu...
Question. At the time when you were promoted to the position of district chief, which is the authority that appointed you during that meeting?
The appointment came from the province. And the province also, the appointments also came from the districts to the commune.
Question. When you say province, I would understand that to be the equivalent of the zone, or do you mean something else? That is how I understand it in French.
Now we call it a province. That is what we call it now, but before we called it the zone.
សម័យនោះមកចឹង
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez de
Question. Do you recall who was the head of the zone or the province at the time, as you refer to it? That is, at the time of your appointment.
It is on the tip of my tongue, but I cannot recall. I could not recall it.
Merci.
Thank you. Question. This has been referred to in your prior statement, so we can refer to it if your memory deteriorates further. Let me put another related question to you. In the northeast zone, was there a military structure? Was there a division of the army that was stationed there?
There was division. There were divisions in provinces.
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez du nom?
Question. Do you remember the name or the names of any divisions in the northeast zone referred to by a number, for instance?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember the number of the division. No, I don't.
Est-ce qu'après avoir été chef
Question. After you were appointed district chief, were you again promoted to a higher position, or that was your highest position?
Response. I know that below the district there was commune, and below the commune there was a village.
et au-dessus du district?
Question. And you said you were district head. Were you again promoted to another position? If yes, please tell us to which position you were promoted.
Response. First, I was asked, appointed to be the chief of the village, then commune chief, then chief of the district, and that's all. No further than that.
ទៅស្រុកហើយអត់មានគេចាត់តាំងឲ្យធ្វើអីទៀតទេធ្វើធំអីផ្សេងទៀតទេមាន
ធំហើយយើងឡើងអានេះវាចៃគេហៅនោះ
តំបន់
តំបន់យើងពេលអានេះឡើង
Response. From the district level, indeed, there was a sector, but I was not the chief of the sector.
គៀបការវាមកពេលនេះដល់នោះមាន
Merci.
Thank you. Question. You said you were not sector chief, but did you nevertheless play any role at that level of the sector?
រឿងអានេះវាដូចយើងចូលជាមួយថ្នាក់តំបន់ដែរ
Response. From the district level, people were supposed to work with those from the sectors as well.
កម្មការរបស់តំបន់ដែរ
ហ្នឹងហើយ
ប៉ុន្តែធ្វើនៅស្រុកទេ
នៅធ្វើនៅស្រុក
ប៉ុន្តែនៅក្នុងគណៈរបស់តំបន់
របស់តំបន់នេះ
Merci.
Thank you.
J'aurais une question alors, vous étiez tout de même, ne fût-ce qu'au niveau du district.
I would have put a question to you regarding the district. At that level, you may have received instructions from Ankara. Can you tell us what Ankara's position was with regard to religion and the practice of veneration of spirits and other spiritual entities?
Response. I do not think I fully understand that situation because it was rather twisting.
ពេលជ្រប់ពេលខំពេលភូមិយ៉ាងសិភាពការ
ចង់គាត់ចង់សួរអ៊ំថាអ៊ំកាលនៅស្រុកហ្នឹងអ៊ំមានទទួលការណែនាំពីថ្នាក់លើពីបជាពីថ្នាក់លើអីទេតាក់ទងនឹងសាសនាឬក៏ការគោរពអរិយអ្នកតាហ្នឹងគេមានបញ្ជាមកអ៊ំឲ្យផ្សព្វផ្សាយទៅប្រជាជនពីរឿងសាសនាពីរឿងការគោរពអរិយអ្នកតាស្អីទេកាលនៅស្រុក
បាទ
With regard to religions and religious practice, we had to maintain our practice because minority people still maintain our tradition and beliefs. No one asked us to do anything with these religious affairs. Indeed, the communities managed our own affairs when it comes to religions.
Je vous remercie. J'en ai terminé. Je vais.
Thank you very much. I'll draw to a close now. I'm going to ask my colleague to ask you a few questions about the evacuation of Phnom Penh and the people who came into your zone after that. Thank you very much.
The President, how many questions are you going to put to the civil party since your allocated time appears to have run out? Chandararasme, I have a few questions to put if you may allow us. The President, indeed there will be no more questions because the allocated time has already been used up. The President, we would like now to proceed to the counsel for the accused, each of whom has 20 minutes to put questions to the civil party, commencing from Nuon Chia Team, Ieng Sari and Khieu Samphan. The President, International Court Prosecutor, we note you on your feet.
Your Honours, if I can just raise a general point at the moment in relation to time allocations. I think at the commencement of the hearing, Your Honours decided to not have time allocations and see how the proceedings progress. And I understand now that it appears with the civil parties and witnesses that there will be time allocations. In relation to this witness, the prosecution in their pleading on the 28th of January suggested that this witness would take about 2.5 hours, and on the basis that the prosecution would have about a third of that questioning time. And we understand that the time allowed today was a little bit shorter than that. What I would ask, Your Honours, is that you advise, if it's possible, that you advise the parties on the length of questioning that they will get in relation to the next witness and the following witnesses and civil parties to come. Of course, unless we know that, it's very difficult to prioritise and determine how much would be asked of the witness, whether it would be 3 hours or half an hour or 2 hours. And I would also ask that, if possible, if Your Honours could make reference to the prosecution's request, our time predictions that were filed on the 28th of January. It's E9/4.1, and ask that the times allowed be consistent with those that are provided. But in any event, if we had advance notice of the timing, particularly for this afternoon and for next week, it would certainly help in our preparations so that we can assist Your Honours as best as possible. Thank you.
The President, thank you very much for your observation. The Chamber reserves our rights to rearrange the time allocation. Indeed, we had some difficulties concerning how time should be allocated, but from now on we will be able to determine how much time would be needed. Yesterday we noted that some questions were irrelevant and repeated. Some questions were straying from the relevant paragraphs from the indictment or closing order. Party put questions, for example, to names of commune A, commune B, for example. That point could not have been raised because it was not part of the structure of the Khmer Rouge, and the time was not really used wisely, because the name of the commune could have not been constituted to the committee of the commune, which would be the main part of the structure of the Khmer Rouge, and we noted that the time was not then wisely used. And when it comes to the hearing on witness 395, the hearing which shall be conducted through video link, and due to the health issue of that individual, we also see the implication with regard to the time allocation. And we also noted that the accused person at the beginning, as we expected, he would be able to give testimony during the whole session, but consequently he preferred to be accused every now and then, and this indeed make us difficult to correctly say how much time we would need. And indeed we could not really force the accused to always appear in this courtroom to give testimony when they already indicated that they couldn't do so. And by lesson learned and practice, we believe that by early January, when we convince another hearing on this evidentiary issue, we hope parties will be well informed and that allocation of time will be precisely calculated. And we understand that we are now flexible when it comes to timing. We appreciate your observation, the International Co-Prosecutor, with regard to the time allocation. We take it for consideration. The President, time flies and never waits. We still have other tasks to perform, and things have appeared to be different from what we have scheduled. We are still convinced that the time allocated for the parties has already run out. We would like to ask whether the civil party lawyers can advise the court with regard to the witness to Romam Yun, whether he can also be returned to the courtroom again in the future. Counsel Big Ang, Mr. President, with regard to the schedule for next week, civil party lawyers would not have any problem, and it is up to the chamber to decide whether to call this witness to appear again in the future. We have no problem. The President, thank you for the indication. Due to time constraints, and indeed we have been, or we have received some requests from the co-prosecutors, and since we have to hear witness testimonies or testimonies from the person before us, the whole morning session, chamber may now grant 15 minutes to the co-prosecutor to proceed with the remaining of the questions. Chandara Samay. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me the floor to put questions to Romam Yun. Good morning, Romam Yun. We would like to put some further questions with regard to the evacuation of the population. Before the 17th of April 1975, did you receive any information with regard to the evacuation of the population from Phnom Penh? Response. We heard that people were evacuated, but we did not really witness the evacuation with our own eyes. We just heard about it. Question: how did you hear that? Did you hear the news on radio broadcasts, or you heard from other people from mouth to mouth? Response: I think the latter is correct. I heard from mouth to mouth, from people to another, from the districts to the commune, from the commune to the village, but frankly I did not really see it with my own eyes. Question: could you also elaborate who told you this news? The news with regard to the evacuation. Could you tell us whether you remember the person's name? Response: I'm afraid not. Question: how many people were evacuated from Phnom Penh to your location, the location under your control in your village? Response: I don't remember the exact number of people. I indeed heard that people were evacuated.
យកទៅនៅភូមិអ៊ំហ៎
How could I know? Because no one reported it to me. Question. Could you also tell the court why people were evacuated? Why people were transferred from one location to another? Response. People were relocated from one village to another, but these news were heard. I just heard from others. I never saw such relocation of people.
ភូមិមួយទៅភូមិមួយ
We learned this information through conversation, informal conversation with friends and neighbors. There was no actual evidence to prove that such relocation took place. Question. Did you ever hear such evacuation being taking place, for example, from anyone? Or how did you know? Response. I really am doubtful why I was not informed about this. Question. When people from Phnom Penh were being transferred or relocated to other locations, including your location, what was your impression with regard to such living condition or their daily life?
Excuse me, Mr. President. That fact assumes a lot of evidence, none of which has come from the witness's mouth. Now, he's done this 2 or 3 times. I didn't want to interrupt. He's indicated what he heard. Now he's putting words into the witness's mouth and wants the witness to confirm. I believe he's asked all the questions on the evacuation and he should move on. You have been gracious enough to grant them 15 minutes. They should not be abusing it by trying to testify in the manner in which the prosecution is doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like now to proceed with further questions. Could you please tell us about the policy of the Communist Party of Cambodia after 1975? Did you ever hear that the Communist Party of Cambodia discharged some decision and that you were ordered to do this and do that, and not to do this and do that, for example, in your location? I am referring to decisions, directives, or plans that have been rendered from the upper echelon down to you, or have you ever been informed of that? Response. When I worked in the commune, and then I was promoted to another position at the district level. At the district level, I was called to clarify in which party or to which party I belonged, and I once even come all the way to Phnom Penh.
ខាង បដិវត្តហ្នឹងគេប្រាប់ប្រជាជនហើយនឹងអ៊ំហ្នឹងឲ្យធ្វើអីខ្លះហើយគេមិនឲ្យយើងធ្វើអីខ្លះកាលនោះអ៊ំ
កាលហ្នឹងแผนការ
At that time, when it comes to plans to manage people in the commune, we were told to follow the plans. We were in the commune committee and we had to implement the plans rendered or given to us. Sometimes, when there were not enough people to assist the work at the district, we would be asked to help. Question: with regard to marriages during those days in your location, could you tell us what was a marriage like? Response: people didn't get married. When people loved one another, they just lived together as partners without marriage. During the Pol Pot time I'm referring to. Marriages took place before the Pol Pot time, but during the Pol Pot period, marriages were not really assumed. Chandra Rasmay, due to time limit, I would like to end my questioning now. Thank you, Mr. President, and Your Honors. The President. Thank you, Mr. Co-Prosecutor. Indeed, it is time for the Defense Counsel to proceed with their question, but the time is very limited, and we would like to know whether Counsel would wish to put any question to this civil party. Could you please advise the Court? Counsel Son Arun, Mr. President, as a co-lawyer for Nuon Chea, along with my colleagues, we need half an hour to put the question to the civil party. The President, thank you. What about other counsel, please?
Good morning, Mr. President. Yes, we do have some questions as well. Depending on what the other teams, well, the Nuon Chea team does, we will decide how much time that we need, but within the 20-minute period that you've allocated, we certainly can accomplish what we need. It may take a lot less, but I don't know until I hear what they have to do. Thank you.
The President, Counsel for Khieu Samphan, Kong Samon. Mr. President, we do have a few questions in the time frame of 20 minutes. The President, thank you very much. The President continues, due to the fact that time is already up and that we shall hear another witness. As indicated by the Chamber, we will not hear Mr. Ramam Yun in the afternoon. We thank you, Mr. Ramam Yun, very much for your efforts in responding to questions. And since the Chamber cannot continue putting questions to you or hearing you again this morning, we appreciate your presence in the future. We will communicate with the relevant units to make sure that you are informed of your next time for testimony. The President, International Co-Prosecutor, you may now proceed.
Thank you, Your Honours. Bearing in mind that Your Honours has given the prosecution leave to lead the witness this afternoon, witness 395, we would ask for an hour and a half for that examination. And also, whilst I'm on my feet, I would ask Your Honours, do Your Honours envisage any other witness tomorrow or accused testifying other than 395? That would really help us with our preparations for tomorrow, and I think the other parties as well. Thank you.
The President, the Chamber has already noted, informed that in the afternoon session and tomorrow morning session, and perhaps we need Friday for the hearing on witness 395, and we also should be prepared when technical glitch may happen with regard to the video link or any other incidents that unexpected. But please be informed that the court will wisely use any minute of every day of the hearing. For example, if we fail to hear the expected witness, then we may instead hear another available witness. But parties will be informed in due course with regard to any change. And we should bear in mind altogether that our witnesses are of old age and are not very well. So unexpected things may happen, and the party shall be now informed that the AV equipment have already been installed at the location where the testimony will be obtained from the witness, and we will see if everything is already installed technically, but the health of the witness is not very good to give testimony. We may have to really resort to plan B, for example. And we have already been planned that the hearing would be conducted from the 5th to the 16th of December as scheduled.
Thank you, Your Honour. And I just would ask whether or not Your Honours would grant the application made by the prosecution this morning that because of the old age and the sickness or the health of witness 395, that he be examined on the full aspects of his statement that relate to the indictment. The prosecution has only made one application on this basis, and also that information was received only a short time ago, and Your Honours explained to us the test required, that it would only be in exceptional circumstances. And we certainly understand that, but we would hate to lose the testimony of this witness if in fact his health continues to deteriorate. Thank you.
The President Counsel Anodzi, you may now proceed.
Good morning, Your Honors. What is Plan B? Is that Roman Yun, Plan Fit, or Nuon Chia? You mentioned Plan B. What is Plan B?
There is no specific Plan B. The court has to be flexible. Counsel, who have been preparing for a considerable period, must also be flexible given the circumstances.
We are indeed. Thank you, Your Honor.
The President. On my behalf, as the President of the Chamber, after we come back from the break, I already informed you, Mr. Co-Prosecutors, that you may ask witness TCW 395 concerning the facts contained in the entire case file. If this is not clear, you may refer to the transcripts. The President, it appears that we have a lot of problems. The Chamber would like to continue clarifying what we are going to do after this. As I said, subject to the availability of the technical equipment which has been conducted or tested several times, the Chamber requires that Mr. Roman Yun be present during the afternoon session for him to prepare in case the technology is not allowed for us to retrieve testimony from witness TCW 395. So I hope the parties are informed of this. And it is now appropriate for us to adjourn for lunch break. The Chamber announces the adjournment of the session, and we will come back by 1:30. Parties and the public are advised to come back to the courtroom by 1:30. Security personnel are instructed to bring the accused back to the holding cells and bring them back to the courtroom by 1:30. All rise.